Rare coin collecting. Discover real value and history in every coin.
Most people think valuable coins are old, silver, or locked away in collections. But the truth is, some of the rarest modern U.S. coins are simple pennies and dimes that millions of people spent without ever realizing what they were holding. And today, we're looking at 4 coins that prove exactly that. Each one created by a tiny minting mistake that most eyes never notice, but collectors pay hundreds, thousands, and sometimes even more when the condition is right. These aren't coins you need special equipment to find. They slipped into normal circulation, hid in pockets and drawers, and many are still out there right now. One has a missing mint mark that should have never disappeared. Another used the wrong die entirely. And 2 of them carry a spacing detail so small that almost everyone overlooks it, except the people who end up finding one worth real money. Watch this video from start to finish, because every coin on this list teaches you a different clue to look for. And once you learn those clues, you might just discover one of these rare pieces sitting quietly in your own change. Most collectors have no idea that one of the rarest modern U.S. coins ever created didn't come from a bank, a mint set, or a collector's estate. It came from a simple Cheerios box. Yes, the 2000 P Cheerios Sacagawea Dollar is a coin that looks ordinary at first glance. But the story behind it is so unbelievable that even experienced collectors get surprised. And the biggest twist is that only a tiny number of these coins carry a special design that turns them from pocket change into a 4 or even 5-figure treasure. If you ever doubted that modern coins could be worth massive money, this one proves it without a doubt. Back in 1999, the U.S. Mint wanted a huge marketing push for the brand new golden dollar. So they teamed up with Cheerios and placed exactly 5,500 Sacagawea dollars inside cereal boxes as a promotion. Kids opened their boxes, found a shiny new coin, and most of them simply spent it. Nobody knew that the Mint had slipped something incredibly special into a very small number of those packages. Some of the coins weren't normal circulation strikes. They were early test examples, pattern coins, with a completely different finish on the eagle's tail feathers. Instead of the softer, smoother design found on regular 2000 P dollars, these Cheerios pieces have deep lines, razor-sharp feather details, and a stronger 3D look. Collectors call this the enhanced tail feathers variety, and it's now considered one of the holy grails of modern U.S. minting. For years, people didn't realize these rare pattern coins existed. Most of them had already been spent, tossed in drawers, carried around, and mixed with ordinary ones. Only much later did collectors start recognizing the special design. Once the first confirmed examples were discovered, the demand exploded overnight. Suddenly, everyone wanted a Cheerios dollar, but almost none remained. Today, experts estimate that maybe 80 to 120 true enhanced feather Cheerios dollars survive. Some even believe the number might be lower because many have been lost or damaged. That makes this coin rarer than many 1800s gold pieces and rarer than almost any modern U.S. rarity. And that scarcity is exactly why prices look unreal to anyone who isn't familiar with the coin. But these aren't exaggerated numbers. They're real auction results that stunned collectors. A top-graded MS-68 example has reached between $25,000 and $32,000. A sealed Cheerios card with the dollar untouched has crossed $40,000 in heated bidding. Even MS-67 examples easily hit $8,000 to $15,000 depending on the look of the coin. And lower-grade authenticated pieces, even with handling marks, still sell for $3,000 to $5,000 without any trouble. That's the kind of price performance you normally see in century-old coins, not a dollar coin made in the year 2000. Like always, condition plays a huge role. Many Cheerios dollars have contact marks, small scratches, or dull spots because they were packaged loosely in thin cardstock. A lot of them got friction just from sliding around inside the box. Those small imperfections can drop a coin from 5 figures to a few thousand. That's why authentication and grading are extremely important. PCGS is the service that officially discovered and certified the variety, so collectors strongly prefer PCGS graded examples. A raw coin, even if it looks promising, won't get top value until it's confirmed as a true Cheerios strike with the enhanced feathers. But if you ever find one, especially one that shows crisp feather lines with deep, sharp engraving, that coin becomes a serious piece of numismatic history. This isn't just another modern dollar. It's a coin that proves valuable treasures can appear in the most unexpected places. A cereal box promotion turned into one of the most important discoveries in modern U.S. coinage. And with fewer than 100 known survivors, the 2000 P Cheerios Sacagawea Dollar remains one of the most desirable pattern issues of the entire 21st century. If you ever come across one, even in worn condition, you might be holding something that instantly transforms into thousands of dollars. If you want the next coin, tell me the name and whether it's first, second, third, fourth, or fifth in your video. Here we go with the next rare coin in our sequence, and this one is a perfect example of how a tiny minting mistake can change the entire destiny of a coin. The 1982 No-P Roosevelt dime looks so normal that thousands of people spent it without even giving it a second thought. But the truth is, this small 10-cent coin created by accident has sold for hundreds, thousands, and even 4-figure prices under the right conditions. And it all happened because of just one missing letter. No dramatic doubling, no cracked dies, no wild misalignment. Just the simple absence of the letter P. In 1982, the Philadelphia Mint was supposed to place the P Mint mark on every single dime they produced. That was standard procedure, but for a short period, one die was accidentally polished or prepared without the mint mark. The Mint didn't notice. The press was loaded and coins started rolling out. Thousands were struck before anyone realized the mistake. And once coins start flowing into circulation, you can't pull them back. From that moment on, the 1982 No-P dime became one of the biggest modern mint mark errors in U.S. coinage. What makes this coin fascinating is how collectors discovered it. People didn't find it in mint sets. They didn't rescue it from sealed packaging. They found it the old-fashioned way, in their change. Supermarkets, parking meters, cashier drawers, and coin rolls became treasure hunts overnight. For the first time in years, everyday Americans were checking their dimes carefully. Kids, collectors, and curious shoppers all wanted to find the mysterious no mint mark dime that newspapers started talking about. It created a national buzz, and even today the story still gets new collectors excited. And here's where the rarity becomes clearer. Yes, the error is known, but the number of surviving high-grade examples is extremely small. Circulation destroyed many of them. People spent them, dropped them, scratched them, jammed them into machines, and tossed them into jars. Those early weeks of circulation where turned what could have been $1,000 coins into pocket change pieces worth only a few dollars. That is why the condition gap is so huge. A nice AU piece might bring $40 to $80. A clean, well-preserved MS coin can hit low hundreds. But when you move into MS 66 and MS 67 territory, the prices leap into the 4-figure range. One of the finest known examples reached over $14,000 at auction, which still shocks collectors today. Metal composition matters too. The dime in 1982 was composed of copper-nickel clad, which scratches easily and shows marks quickly. That makes top-grade survivors incredibly difficult. Even coins, pulled from circulation right after the era became known, often show faint rub or contact marks because that metal is so soft. A true gem with sharp luster and flawless surfaces becomes almost impossibly rare. That's why grading makes such a huge difference. Collectors want strong strike, bright mint luster, no dark toning patches, and clean fields. Those coins are the ones that jump into the thousands. And the most interesting part is that people are still finding them. It doesn't happen every day, of course, but the fact that discoveries still pop up means the story isn't finished. Roll hunters, bank searchers, and long-time coin collectors occasionally stumble across one in old jars or forgotten rolls. Every time a new example surfaces, it reminds people that even the smallest errors from the early 1980s still have the power to shock the hobby. What really keeps the 1982 No P dime valuable is its status as a major mint mark variety. It's not a minor issue. It's not an overlooked die chip or a tiny double. This is a full mint mark disappearance, something that should never happen. And because Philadelphia rarely makes mint mark mistakes, this coin stands out even more. Demand remains strong. Collectors of Roosevelts consider it essential. Variety hunters chase it, and new hobbyists love its story. With so many groups wanting it and so few high-quality survivors available, the future value continues to look strong. So check your old change, check your drawers, and especially check any older coin rolls you've saved for years. The 1982 No P dime proves that a simple missing letter unnoticed at the time can turn a 10-cent coin into a serious collectible worth real money. And the best part? Anyone, anywhere, can still find one if they look closely enough. If you're ready for the next coin, just tell me the name and whether it's the next one in your sequence. Here we go with the next coin in our sequence, and this one is the kind of discovery that makes collectors check every single penny they touch. The 1999 Wide AM Lincoln cent is one of those small but powerful minting mistakes that slipped into everyday circulation without anyone noticing. At first glance, it looks just like any other penny from the late 90s. Same portrait, same reverse, same copper-plated zinc metal. But the tiny gap between the A and the M in the word America tells a completely different story. And that one small spacing error is the reason this coin can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the right condition. To understand why the 1999 Wide AM exists, you have to go back to the way the U.S. Mint handled dies in the late 1990s. During these years, proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint used a different reverse design than the regular business strike coins. Proof reverses had a wider space between the A and M, while circulation reverses had the letters almost touching. But somewhere during the die preparation process, a proof-style reverse was accidentally paired with Philadelphia business strike dies, and nobody caught the mistake before the coins began entering circulation. No alarms, no inspection failures, no special reports, just normal minting procedures accidentally creating a new variety. What makes the 1999 Wide AM different from the 1998 version is scarcity. While both are collectible, the 1999 Wide AM is considerably rarer. Far fewer were produced, and even fewer survive, in decent condition today. Many collectors estimate that only a few thousand are out there, and most have been through circulation long enough to lose their original brilliance. That's why high-grade survivors are such prized finds. A coin that managed to stay bright red with clean surfaces is already impressive for any zinc cent. But when it's also a Wide AM, it instantly becomes something special. Condition is everything with this coin. A circulated 1999 Wide AM might bring $20 to $50 depending on eye appeal. A lightly circulated or AU example can climb into low hundreds. But once you reach mint state grades, especially MS 65 and MS-66, prices jump dramatically. Red examples with strong strike, minimal contact marks, and glowing luster have sold for $400, $800, even over $1,000. And in the highest known grades, MS-67 and above, this coin can break into the multiple $1,000 range. One particularly stunning example has crossed $2,000 at auction, and collectors expect that top-tier pieces will continue rising as the best survivors get locked into long-term collections. The metal composition adds another difficult layer. By 1999, pennies were copper-plated zinc, a combination that is notorious for spotting, streaking, and developing dull patches. Zinc scents dent easily, scratch easily, and tone unevenly. That means most of the coins pulled straight from rolls back in the day already had imperfections, and after 25 years of circulation, finding a flawless one almost feels like winning a small lottery. That's why grading companies put so much emphasis on surfaces and luster. One tiny carbon spot can drop a coin a full grade. One little scrape on Lincoln's cheek can cost hundreds of dollars in value. It's a harsh metal for long-term survival, which is exactly why clean wide AMs are so difficult to locate. Another major factor is how people discovered this variety. It wasn't known in 1999. It wasn't advertised. It wasn't documented by the mint. Collectors found them years later when someone finally noticed the wide spacing and matched it to the proof die design. That delay meant most of the coins were already gone, worn down, spent, tossed into drawers, or mixed into massive scent bags. Only after the discovery did roll hunters start searching. And although finds still happen today, it's nowhere near as common as people imagine. Most collectors search thousands of pennies before finding even one. That chase, that thrill of spotting a tiny detail most people ignore, is part of what keeps demand strong. And even though this coin is subtle, it carries real historical weight in the collecting world. It's one of the major transitional varieties of the modern Lincoln series. It represents a moment when the mint's die-handling process created something that wasn't meant to exist, something small, accidental, and now extremely valuable. Variety collectors absolutely need it. Lincoln specialists consider it a must-have. And new collectors love it because the search is simple. Turn the coin over, look at the A and the M, see if they're touching or not. It's one of the easiest errors to check for, and that makes it accessible for everyone. What keeps the 1999 wide AM interesting year after year is the fact that people are still finding them. Estate sales, old coin jars, bank boxes, untouched penny rolls. Here we go with the next coin in our lineup. And this one is a perfect reminder that sometimes the most valuable discoveries hide in the smallest design details. The 1998 wide AM Lincoln cent is a coin that looks exactly like every other penny from the late 1990s, until you turn it over and notice something most people would never think to check. A tiny gap between the A and the M in America is the entire reason this coin can jump from being worth 1 cent to being worth hundreds, or even well over $1,000 in the right condition. And the fun part? Anyone can find one. These coins weren't pulled from mint sets or special releases. They slipped straight into circulation. To understand why this variety exists, you have to look at how the U.S. Mint prepared dies in the late 1990s. The Mint used 2 different reverse designs during this period. One design was meant for proof coins, with a wider space between the A and the M, and a slightly different shape to the letters. The other was the standard business strike reverse, with the A and M practically touching. But every now and then, someone at the Mint accidentally paired a proof-style reverse with a regular business strike obverse. No alarms went off, no presses stopped, and the coins began to flow as normal. That simple die mix-up created one of the most important modern varieties in the Lincoln series. Most collectors never even realized this variety existed until years later. When the discovery came out, people immediately started checking their change and digging through old jars. And that's part of what makes this coin so fascinating. The thrill of finding a real variety that wasn't created through damage or wear, but through a genuine minting mistake. Unlike dramatic double dies from the 1950s or bold, repunched mint marks from the early 1900s, the wide AM error is subtle, quiet, and easy to overlook. But once you know what you're looking for, it stands out instantly. Now let's talk about scarcity. The 1998 WID AM is not as rare as some legendary errors, but it is scarce enough that high-grade examples bring strong money. Circulated pieces exist, but many of them have wear, dark toning, or scratches that drop the value quickly. And that's where condition starts to matter in a massive way. A circulated wide AM might bring $10 to $30. A nicer AU example might hit $50 or $60. But once you cross into true mint state territory, MS65, MS66, MS67, the value jumps fast. Strongly struck red examples with crisp luster have sold for hundreds, and some of the finest known pieces have crossed over $1,000. A truly high-grade registry-level coin can surprise collectors with how aggressively bidders fight for it. One reason condition is such a challenge is the coin's composition. By 1998, pennies were no longer copper. They were copper-plated zinc, and zinc-based cents are notorious for picking up spots, streaks, and discoloration. The plating can bubble, the edges can tone unevenly, and even small contact marks can stand out. That means finding a perfect wide AM in beautiful red, glowing mint luster is far more difficult than collectors first expected. That's why so many coins grade below gem levels. The metal simply doesn't age well. Another interesting layer is survival. Many people spent these coins without ever checking them. Some went through years of circulation. Others may have been damaged, bent, or stained. A handful remain in truly original condition, but most were handled long before collectors knew to look for them. That shrinking pool of clean, bright survivors is exactly what keeps prices healthy. And because only a few hundred high-grade examples exist, demand from Lincoln Cent specialists remains strong year after year. Something else collectors love is that this coin is part of a 3-year trio, the 1998, 1999, and 2000 wide AM cents. And within that set, the 1998 is one of the more desirable pieces because it wasn't expected. It was the first year the accidental reverse mixing started happening, which adds another layer of interest. Variety hunters want it, registry collectors want it, and everyday hobbyists want it because it's easy to check for. You don't need special equipment, just your eyes and a little patience. And the reason it remains fun for everyone is simple. People are still finding them. Old coin rolls, estate jars, bank boxes, even random change from stores can still produce a 1998 wide AM. It's not impossible. It's not a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. But it is rare enough that every find feels like a win. And if you happen to find one in crisp red mint state, you might be holding a coin that instantly jumps into the hundreds of dollars. So check the spacing on your pennies. Look for that little separation between the A and the M. It's such a small detail, but it tells the entire story of how a simple die mix-up created a modern collectible that continues to reward careful eyes.